The Happy Hypocrite, A Fairy Tale for Tired Men by Sir Max Beerbohm. Narration by ElevenLabs. Professional voice clone, Anna Rita 2. Lord George, greatly agitated, had turned into Piccadilly. It was horrible to have met this garish embodiment of his past on the very threshold of his fair future. The mask-maker's elevating talk about the gods, followed by the initiative ceremony of his saintly mask, had driven all discordant memories from his love thoughts of Jenny Mere, and then to be met by La Gambogi. It might be that after his stern words she would not seek to cross his path again. Surely she would not seek to mar his sacred love. Yet he knew her dark Italian nature, her passion of revenge. What was the line in Virgil? Spreta eque something. Who knew but that somehow sooner or later she might come between him and his love? He was about to pass Lord Barrymore's mansion. Count Karoloff and Mr. Fitzclarence were lounging in one of the lower windows. Would they know him behind his mask? Thank God they did not. They merely laughed as he went by, and Mr. Fitzclarence cried in a mocking voice, "Sing us a hymn, Mr. Whatever your saint's name is." The mask, then, at least, was perfect. Jenny Mere would not know him. He need fear no one but La Gambogi. But would not she betray his secret? He sighed. That night he was going to visit Garbles and to declare his love to the little actress. He never doubted that she would love him for his saintly face. Had she not said, "That man whose face is wonderful as are the faces of the saints, to him I will give my true love"? She could not say now that his face was as a tarnished mirror of love. She would smile on him. She would be his bride. But would La Gambogi be at Garbles? The operette would not be over before 10 that night. The clock in Hyde Park Gate told him it was not yet 10 of the morning. 12 whole hours to wait before he could fall at Jenny's feet. "I cannot spend that time in this place of memories," he thought. So he hailed a yellow cabriolet and bade the jarvey drive him out to the village of Kensington. When they came to the little wood where he had been but a few hours ago, Lord George dismissed the jarvey. The sun, that had risen as he stood there thinking of Jenny, shone down on his altered face, but, though it shone very fiercely, it did not melt his waxen features. The old woodman, who had shown him his way, passed by under a load of faggots, and did not know him. He wandered among the trees. It was a lovely wood. Presently he came to the bank of that tiny stream, the Ken, which still flowed there in those days. On the moss of its bank he lay down and let its water ripple over his hand. Some bright pebble glistened under the surface, and as he peered down at it, he saw in the stream the reflection of his mask. A great shame filled him that he should so cheat the girl he loved. Behind that fair mask there would still be the evil face that had repelled her. Could he be so base as to decoy her into love of that most ingenious deception? He was filled with a great pity for her, with a hatred of himself. And yet, he argued, was the mask indeed a mean trick? Surely it was a secret symbol of his true repentance and of his true love. His face was evil because his life had been evil. He had seen a gracious girl, and of a sudden his very soul had changed. His face alone was the same as it had been. It was not just that his face should be evil still. There was the faint sound of someone sighing. Lord George looked up, and there, on the further bank, stood Jenny Mere, watching him. As their eyes met, she blushed and hung her head. She looked like nothing but a tall child as she stood there, with her straight, limp frock of lilac cotton and her sunburnt straw bonnet. He dared not speak. He could only gaze at her. Suddenly there perched astride the bough of a tree at her side that winged and laughing child in whose hand was a bow. Before Lord George could warn her, An arrow had flashed down and vanished in her heart, and Cupid had flown away. No cry of pain did she utter, but stretched out her arms to her lover with a glad smile. He leapt quite lightly over the little stream and knelt at her feet. It seemed more fitting that he should kneel before the gracious thing he was unworthy of. But she, knowing only that his face was as the face of a great saint, bent over him and touched him with her hand. "Surely," she said, "you are that good man for whom I have waited. Therefore do not kneel to me, but rise and suffer me to kiss your hand, for my love of you is lowly, and my heart is all yours." But he answered, looking up into her fond eyes, "Nay, you are a queen, and I must needs kneel in your presence." But she shook her head wistfully, and she knelt down also in her tremulous ecstasy before him. And as they knelt, the one to the other, the tears came into her eyes, and he kissed her. Though the lips that he pressed to her lips were only waxen, he thrilled with happiness in that mimic kiss. He held her close to him in his arms, and they were silent in the sacredness of their love. From his breast he took the posy of wild flowers that he had gathered. "They are for you," he whispered. "I gathered them for you hours ago in this wood. See, they are not withered." But she was perplexed by his words, and said to him, blushing, "How was it for me that you gathered them, though you had never seen me?" "I gathered them for you," he answered, "knowing I should soon see you. How was it that you, who had never seen me, yet waited for me?" "I waited, knowing I should see you at last." And she kissed the posy and put it at her breast. And they rose from their knees and went into the wood, walking hand in hand. As they went, he asked the names of the flowers that grew under their feet. "These are primroses," she would say. "Did you not know? And these are ladies' feet, and these forget-me-nots, and that white flower climbing up the trunks of the trees and trailing down so prettily from the branches is called astyanax. These little yellow things are buttercups. Did you not know?" And she laughed. "I know the names of none of the flowers," he said. She looked up into his face and said timidly, "Is it worldly and wrong of me to have loved the flowers? Ought I to have thought more of those higher things that are unseen?" His heart smote him. He could not answer her simplicity. "Surely the flowers are good. And did you not gather this posy for me?" she pleaded. "But if you do not love them, I must not. And I will try to forget their names, for I must try to be like you in all things. Love the flowers always," he said, "and teach me to love them." So she told him all about the flowers, how some grew very slowly and others bloomed in a night, how clever the convolvulus was at climbing, and how shy violets were, and why honeycups had folded petals. She told him of the birds, too, that sang in the wood, how she knew them all by their voices. "That is a chaffinch singing. Listen," she said. And she tried to imitate its note, that her lover might remember. All the birds, according to her, were good, except the cuckoo, and whenever she heard him sing she would stop her ears, lest she should forgive him for robbing the nests. "Every day," she said, "I have come to the wood because I was lonely, and it seemed to pity me, but now I have you, and it is glad." She clung closer to his arm, and he kissed her. She pushed back her straw bonnet, so that it dangled from her neck by its ribbons, and laid her little head against his shoulder. For a while he forgot his treachery to her, thinking only of his love and her love. Suddenly she said to him, "Will you try not to be angry with me if I tell you something? It is something that will seem dreadful to you." "Pauvrette," he answered, "you cannot have anything very dreadful to tell." "I am very poor," she said, "and every night I dance in a theatre. It is the only thing I can do to earn my bread. Do you despise me because I dance?" She looked up shyly at him and saw that his face was full of love for her and not angry. "Do you like dancing?" he asked. "I hate it," she answered quickly. "I hate it indeed. Yet tonight, alas, I must dance again in the theatre." "You need never dance again," said her lover. "I am rich, and I will pay them to release you. You shall dance only for me. Sweetheart, it cannot be much more than noon. Let us go into the town while there is time, and you shall be made my bride, and I your bridegroom, this very day. Why should you and I be lonely?" "I do not know," she said. So they walked back through the wood, taking a narrow path which Jenny said would lead them quickest to the village. And as they went, they came to a tiny cottage with a garden that was full of flowers. The old woodman was leaning over its paling, and he nodded to them as they passed. "I often used to envy the woodman," said Jenny, "living in that dear little cottage." "Let us live there then," said Lord George, and he went back and asked the old man if he were not unhappy, living there alone. "'Tis a poor life here for me," the old man answered. "No folk come to the wood, except little children now and again to play, or lovers like you. But they seldom notice me, and in winter I am alone with Jack Frost. Old men love merrier company than that. Oh, I shall die in the snow with my faggots on my back. A poor life here. I will give you gold for your cottage and whatever is in it, and then you can go and live happily in the town," Lord George said, and he took from his coat a note for 200 guineas and held it across the palings. "Lovers are poor foolish derry-docks," the old man muttered, "but I thank you kindly, sir. This little sum will keep me cosy as long as I last. Come into the cottage as soon as can be. It's a lonely place, and does my heart good to depart from it." "We are going to be married this afternoon in the town," said Lord George. "We will come straight back to our home." "May you be happy," replied the woodman. "You'll find me gone when you come," and the lovers thanked him and went their way. "Are you very rich?" Jenny asked. "Ought you to have bought the cottage for that great price?" "Would you love me as much if I were quite poor, little Jenny?" he asked her after a pause. "I did not know you were rich when I saw you across the stream," she said, and in his heart Lord George made a good resolve. He would put away from him all his worldly possessions, all the money that he had won at the clubs, fairly or foully, all that hideous accretion of gold guineas he would distribute among the comrades he had impoverished. As he walked with the sweet and trustful girl at his side, the vague record of his infamy assailed him, and a look of pain shot behind his smooth mask. He would atone. He would shun no sacrifice that might cleanse his soul. All his fortune he would put from him. Follard Chase he would give back to Sir Follard. He would sell his house in St. James's Square. He would keep some little part of his patrimony, enough for him in the wood with Jenny, but no more. "I shall be quite poor, Jenny," he said, and they talked of the things that lovers love to talk of, how happy they would be together and how economical. As they were passing Herbert's pastry shop, which, as my little readers know, still stands in Kensington, Jenny looked up rather wistfully into her lover's ascetic face. "Should you think me greedy," she asked him, "if I wanted a bun? They have beautiful buns here." Buns! The simple word started latent memories of his childhood. Jenny was only a child after all. Buns! He had forgotten what they were like, and as they looked at the piles of variegated cakes in the window, he said to her, "Which are buns, Jenny? I should like to have one too." "I am almost afraid of you," she said. "You must despise me so. Are you so good that you deny yourself all the vanity and pleasure that most people love? It is wonderful not to know what buns are. The round, brown, shiny cakes with little raisins in them are buns. So he bought 2 beautiful buns, and they sat together in the shop, eating them. Jenny bit hers rather diffidently, but was reassured when he said that they must have buns very often in the cottage. Yes! He, the famous toper and gourmet of St. James's, relished this homely fare as it passed through the insensible lips of his mask to the palate. He seemed to rise from the consumption of his bun a better man. But there was no time to lose now. It was already past 2 o'clock. So he got a chaise from the inn opposite the pastry shop, and they were swiftly driven to Doctors' Commons. There he purchased a special licence. When the clerk asked him to write his name upon it, he hesitated. What name should he assume? Under a mask he had wooed this girl. Under an unreal name he must make her his bride. He loathed himself for a trickster. He had vilely stolen from her the love she would not give him. Even now should he not confess himself the man whose face had frightened her, and go his way? And yet, surely, it was not just that he, whose soul was transfigured, should bear his old name. Surely George Hell was dead, and his name had died with him. So he dipped a pen in the ink and wrote George Heaven, for want of a better name, and Jenny wrote Jenny Mere beneath it. An hour later they were married according to the simple rites of a dear little registry office in Covent Garden, and in the cool evening they went home.